Hey, this is Oliver and welcome to another very entertaining tutorial, and this is what we will create today. So we will do some very cool particle effects with no third-party plugin. Everything is 100% After Effects. And we saw that on Andrew's Instagram channel a few years ago. He did some testing with these effects and we tried to figure out how he did that. And that's why we came up with this tutorial. So we got a lot of stuff to cover. So get yourself some pizza, something to drink, and lay back and just get this thing started. So first is we need a new composition. Go to composition, new composition, make it to a format what you like. We have some cinemascopic format, which is 2016 by 858, and we have 250 frames or 10 seconds, and we have of course a frame rate of 250. Okay, frame rate to 25 frames a second, and the duration of 10 seconds, and hit OK. So the first thing is we need a new solid. So go to Layer, New Solid, and call that noise. And we need some fractal noise. So drop in some fractal noise here. And the first thing we like to change is the noise type from soft linear to block. And we leave all the settings as they are. We go to the transform settings, and first we uncheck the uniform scaling. And this gives us here these two sliders, and the scale width we bring down to, let's say, 30. And the scale height we will crank up like so. Something about, yeah, let's say 400. Check this out, how it works, 400. And we go to the complexity control and we bring this down to 1.3. So this is the result. The next thing is we need a CC ball action. So go to Effects and Presets, CC ball action, and we drop that onto the comp, and this is what we have so far. So now if you change the twist property from X-axis to a blue channel and play with the twist angle, you see what happened here. Okay, so and this is 3D. So if you go to Layer, New Camera, make it 35 millimeters, should be fine, and hit OK. And if you go to the camera tool here, the orbit tool, you can orbit around. So you see this is 3D, okay? And what this does is it controls the displacement of the X-axis over the blue channel. So if you change that from X-axis to Y-axis, you will see you have a different result, but still it's 3D, okay? So what else we have to do to achieve this effect? So the first thing is we need to animate the noise. So make switch off the ball action for now and go to the transform settings and go to the offset point and click the stopwatch on frame number 1. Go to frame number 10 if you like to go so long, and just offset the position to something like so. So the speed depends on you. You can do whatever you like to, but this is so the animation for so far. And let's go back to the CC ball action. You see what happens. If you scrub forward, you will see some animation happen there. Okay. So the next, we go back to our X-axis because this is what we like to have. So here you see this is what we have so far. And let's rotate that a little bit like so. Okay, so the next thing we'd like to have is these wavy things like here. So it is very smooth, and we don't achieve this result with this. So we need a directional blur. So go to Effects and Presets and put in some directional blur. And important, drag that before the CC ball action. Okay, maybe you can switch it off so far and bring the blur length up. Here, this is what we have. So make sure the direction fits. So must be a blur perfect from top to bottom. For in our case, if you have it from left to right, of course you have to adjust these settings. Okay, switch back the ball action. I bring this down, okay, and make the ball action again visible. And if you now play with the blur lengths, you see you smoothen out all these dark edges, these sharp edges. Okay, now we have a very cool wavy behavior of this effect. Okay, the last thing to do in this very beginning is adjust the ball size on the grid. So let's say grid space, let's say try 2. That looks quite cool, and bring down the ball size a little bit. So make sure that always the ball size is according to the grid space. So it means if I bring the grid space down to 0, you will see I have to bring up the ball size so that I can see anything. Okay, but as you see, you got the idea. Let me preview that for short. Here we go. This is the effect, and the cool thing is it's still 3D. So you can move around, and you can see here this effect. Let me bring the grid space back to 2 and the ball size down to something like this. Looks fine. Okay, you got the idea. Okay, for example, if you choose to change the rotation axis to, let's say, Y, this is the effect. Okay, so you got the displacement over the Y axis, and it also looks cool because it's still 3D. So you can zoom in and play around with these, give them some other ball sizes like so, and here you got the idea. Okay, of course you can animate fractal noise type. You can play with the contrast to even shrink this effect up and down, or play with the orientation to give them some randomness. So this is up to you what to play with these. But let's go back to our original part. I go back to x-axis. Let me zoom a little bit out, and let me go with the orbit tool back to where we started. So this is what we need. So next is, as you see, everything is black and white, and this is we can use a tint effect, but this is not that what we want. The next thing we'd like to have is a adjustment layer. So go to layer, new adjustment layer, and let's call that color. Color. It's quite hot here in Germany, so we have end of July, we have 30 degrees outside, so I'm sorry for mistaking here. It's a bit hard to do everything good. So we need some curves, of course. Go to Effect and Presets and say Curves. Drop that onto the adjustment layer, and let's play with the RGB settings. So let's go to the red channel, bring this down a bit, and the blue channel a little bit up. So we got all these white areas, and the rest is very good tinted. And back to the green channel, and let's say something like so. That looks fine so far. So what we'll do next is stylize this a little bit. So we go to our noise layer with the CC ball action and simply duplicate that by string D on the keyboard or Command D on the Mac. Hopefully it is Command D, but if you're on a Mac, you know what to press here. Or simply go to Edit, Copy and Paste. Okay, so let's rename that to Blur. And let me bring this up. So we have the fractal noise, the directional blur, and the CC ball action, and we need a CC radial blur on this. So I go on the blur layer, drop that onto here, and to give some depth here, you see I increase the amount, and you see you get some cool depth here in this. And of course you can play with the ball action. Maybe let's try to bring the ball size a little bit up. You see you got more light here. So this is quite cool, and let me adjust this. I think I'd like to have a bit smaller ball size here, something like that. That's quite cool, because I like to have another copy. from the noise layer, string D on the keyboard, and let's play with the ball action again. I go to my ball size and bring this up, something like so, and bring this under the first noise layer and change the transfer mode from normal, on the first layer from normal to add, which gives me this result. And now I can play with the ball size even more. Just want to have a few highlights here on the things, a little bit of depth. That looks cool. Yes, that looks quite cool. And let's put some glow on it. So I go to the color correction adjustment layer and type in glow. And this is way too much, so we bring down the intent. Let's say 0.5. Let's increase the radius and even the threshold a bit up. That looks cool. What we did wrong is, as you see here, the radial blur is not the right one. So we go to our blur layer and go to radial blur, and the type is scratch, which is wrong. We have to change that to fading zoom. This is what we like to have, and now we can play with the amount. Here we go. I want some depth. So this direction in front, this direction to the back. So I got little bit depth here, and that looks very, very cool. Okay. If you like to animate that over time, so what you can do is on the CC ball action to put a over the ball action on. Let's solo first the main layer. So to animate that in, simply go to your effects and preset and type in linear and get this linear wipe and put that above the ball action. And this is what we have so far. On the wrong layer of course. Sorry, let me delete that. Sorry. On this layer, which is solo. Sorry for that. Drop that onto the layer and bring it above the CC ball action. And here you go. This is what you have. You can play with the direction. Set that to 0. And here we go. This is the animation. And you see it comes because we are before the CC ball action. It starts not linear. If you have that beneath the CC ball action, you will have this effect. So you have a straight line, which looks not quite cool. Bring this above the CC ball action, so everything happens before the displacement. So this is important. So, and if you now animate that over time, you see, simply hit the stopwatch at 100%, go to second number 1 second, for example, and bring this down. Here we go. This is the animation. That looks cool. Okay, so the speed, of course, you can change by playing with the fractal noise thing. And let's switch everything back on. So this is what we have so far. And of course, we have to do this with the linear wipe on the blur layer and all on the highlight noise layer. Of course, the same thing. So go to frame number 1, go to the noise layer, select the linear wipe, hit string C on the keyboard to copy. Go to the noise layer, paste that string in the keyboard, and again drop that above the CC ball action, and the same for the blur layer, string V on the keyboard or paste and above the radial. So, and here we go. So this is a step backward because after we recorded the whole tutorial with all the things, we were more than 1 hour. So I decided to split that into parts. So the first part is with these particles as we did before. So here, this is our lines, and I will showcase you a few more things you can do with these lines because there's so many possibilities. And this is our animation we had so far. And we have some small particles here, and we add them. So let me get rid of this. So this is our animation. We have only the adjustment layer and some curve corrections and some glow on that. Let me bring the threshold down a bit so you can see that even more better. So let's have a look on the particles on the fractal noise. So because if you play with the transform settings, for example, as you remember, let me solo that. CC ball action, here we go. So this is our, and this one too. So this is our noise layer. And if you play with the scale height, for example, you will see back on and back on the ball action. If you play with the scale height, you will see you get smoother waves or even more waves on that. Okay, so this is how you can play with the waves. And even if you play with the scale length, you will see you get more bands, bigger bands with this waves on it. So even with this you can play a lot. Even if you want to have some randomness, you can crank up the complexity. So let's go to the complexity and bring this up, and you will see what happens. Here you get some randomness into your bands. Okay. And even if we do some smaller balls, bring this down. So here we go. You see that? And of course you can copy the layers. And what else you can do with this? So this is the last few things of this tutorial. So for example, if you go to the ball action and you change the twist property from blue, no, not from blue, from the rotation axis, from x-axis to, let's say, x, y, 1, 5, z axis. This is the result. And what does it mean? Okay, so let me bring the blue rotation down. So this will rotate over the x, y, z axis and give you some very weird particles flying around. Gives you some very weird particles flying around. Sorry. It gives you a very cool, very creative solution. And if you play with the width, you can even make it worth or not. But here you got the idea what to do with this effect. Okay. So and let's try to put to x 15 z axis. This is the result. And let's play with the channel. Here we go. So this is the starting point. And everything is 3D, of course. So this is the starting point. This is the animation. Okay. So let's bring this to 0. So we have a blank. Okay. And if you start playing with the twist angle, you see it twists over the blue channel distortion, and it rotates the whole thing like so. And now you overdo that, but here we go. And if you go to x, y, and z axis, this is what you do. Okay, so very, very cool, and it's even 3D. So look at the animation. You see that? And now if you do some very fancy things like duplicate that one more time, and for example add that and play with the ball size, let's say 25. So we got these little highlights here, and here we go, and we have the glow on that. And let's do one more copy, string D, and bring this also to add, bring it up beneath all of the particles, and put in some CC radial blur, and fading zoom and amount of, let's go to the opposite side to give him some depth and quality increase. And now let's do a background, layer new solid, BG for background, and I give him a ramp from black to something light. Because we have the tint amount in the adjustment layer, you don't have to take care about the tint here. It's just about the white part. Okay, and we bring this to lower left, upper right. Here we go. And let's do a camera animation. Go to camera, transform orientation, frame number 1, hit the stopwatch, go to the last frame, here we go, and simply make in a little rotation like so. And let's zoom in a little bit also. Here we go. And let me preview that for you. Here we go. That looks very, very cool, and you get an idea what to do with it. And one last cool thing, because I like this effect, I love it. If I go to my big particles, which are this one here, and let's apply vector blur to that, and you will see what happened there. So I apply the vector blur, I change the type from natural to direction fading, and bring the amount a touch, and you see you get very, very cool organic lines here. And yeah, there it looks like a data cloud or whatever. So make sure, and the cool thing, it is even still 3D, so you can zoom in, you can rotate all of this, and you can orbit around, and you can see, yeah, that's what it is. And this is so many things, so many times, to so many possibilities to play with, that we decided to cut this tutorial into pieces. So stay tuned, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We will update the tutorial within the next few weeks, and hope you like what you see. Please leave some comments if you like to have some special tutorials on a special thing, and hope we see us in the next tutorial. My name is Oliver, and thank you, bye.